Hello and welcome to Bridget's Garden. Today I'm going to show you how I make elderflower fizz. I went on a little foraging walk yesterday with some friends and we found that the elderflowers are just coming out, so I managed to gather quite a few and I'm going to make some elderflower fizz, so I'm going to bring you along and show you how I do it. And let's get on with it. Okay, so here's my bag of elderflowers that I collected yesterday. They're still got their stalks on, but we don't need the stalks. We want to get as few stalks as possible and mostly flowers. So the recipe that I am using, which I've just got here, is for every 12 flower heads, we use 1 lemon, 1.5 pounds of sugar, according to the recipe, although I've reduced that to 1 pound. 1 tablespoon of vinegar, either white wine, white or cider vinegar, and 1 gallon of water. So I'm probably going to double that up, so I've got 2 buckets here. The buckets that you can get fermenting buckets and buckets specifically for home brew. But as long as you're using a food grade bucket, it's fine. And these are ones that have had bird food in them. And that's fine. As long as they've not had cleaning products or anything that's toxic in them, it's fine to use them. Just make sure that they are scrupulously clean. So very hot water, you know, a good dose of washing up liquid. It doesn't have to be sterile because everything that's going in it isn't going to be sterile, so it doesn't have to be sterile, it just has to be very clean. I'm going to find my scissors and I am going to chop the flowers off. I'm not going to chop like every individual flower off because, well, who's got time for that really? So that's one. I'm going to call that 2 flower heads, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to say that's half, so I'm going to put another little one in. So that's 12. So I'm going to put that to one side now, while I get on with what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil some water to enable the sugar to melt a little bit easier. The recipe doesn't necessarily call for that, but that's how I do it, so I'm going to do that. So that's some boiled water there, and then I've got a pound of sugar, so I'm just going to put a pound of sugar in, pour a pint of boiling water over it. We'll give that a stir. Okay, so I've put my gallon of water in there with a pound of sugar, and now I'm going to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, which I've also made myself. It's really easy, and I think there is instructions on my Instagram if you want to have a look on there. Okay, now I'm going to add the flower heads. I'm just going to drop those in. Obviously if you have bigger buckets you could double the amount in the same bucket. It's just I've got 2 separate buckets because my buckets aren't big enough to double up. So I'll just stir them in. And the recipe calls for 1 lemon, so I shall put a lemon in. I think I'm going to use 1.5 lemons because that's only a little lemon. You can sort of make it up, add or subtract things that you find work better. So I just squeeze that in and then drop it in. Squeeze it in, then drop it in. And then there we go. Okay, and I shall give that another stir. And that's it. What I will do now is I will place the lid on top, but I won't fasten it down. It would probably be alright at this stage, but there's a danger of, like, if it ferments quickly, of gases building up. But I'll just put the lid on that and then leave it at least overnight. You can leave it for 2 or 3 days. The longer you leave it, the more likely it is to go mouldy. So don't leave it too long, or if you can't get to it the next day, give it a stir to make sure that you're keeping all of the flower heads under the water, and it's less likely to go mouldy. And then after we've left it to settle, we just strain out all of the flower heads and the lemons and bottle it up, leaving a bit of a gap at the top for any gases to expand into, and then leave it for a couple of weeks, and then it's ready to drink, and that's it. It's dead easy. So hopefully I've inspired you to have a go at making your own elderflower fizz. Let me know how you get on in the comments below, or let me know if you've made it before and you've tried a different recipe and how that's worked for you. I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.